This conference will now be recorded.
I had found mine. All right. Happy October, everybody. Call the meeting to order. Let's look at to approve the agenda. I actually want to add something to the new business E. Can we do the covered bridge park swings? Perfect. And that is all I need to add.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approve the minutes from September 9th.
And I already corrected them, but not before I sent you guys the packet on the tablets. The date at the top is wrong, but I corrected it on the real minutes.
Oh, yes, it says August.
It does. So it's already corrected. I can resend the whole packet.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from September 9th.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Approve accounts payable.
Kind of like this digital stuff. You can zoom in. Don't need my cheaters.
This is nice.
We can do this from now on, if you want.
Yeah, we can.
I like this. This actually is nice.
And then we're not wasting paper.
Time to print the paper too.
Mhm. 695013. Got you.
Is that old bathhouse in the campground still being used?
Did anybody hear anything about it? People getting a rash from the volleyball courts? I had a couple people ask me that there was something in there because they got their feet broke out. And I said, I'll wait and see if I hear from anybody else, because there's a lot of people in there. So they must have got it from somewhere else.
That makes me itchy.
Just a couple. Hunt Island people.
That TARP reimbursement for that Nest character, I don't think he ever received that check, so I don't think we need to put that on there.
It's a,
$26.83 for every time somebody told me the check's in the mail.
Right? And I'm crossing my
council
fingers it
first.
gets to you so we don't have to pay more than the check is worth in a down payment.
stamp for the metered mail. I could have just picked it up tonight.
I was thinking that, but then I was just hoping, I sent it earlier last week, so I'm like, well, maybe it'll get to them before the meeting. And what do you know, no such luck.
Maybe next time.
Now, we are gonna be getting some money back from Pine Island Lumber, because we overpaid them somehow by like $1,000, some
Oh,
odd change, so.
Okay.
It's not reflected on here, but that did get put back.
Right, we returned some of the materials too that were
Oh, that's,
unused and unnecessary, so some of that stuff.
Perfect.
that's probably where that came from then, because I was thinking, I don't
And so then.
remember
was it
overpaying
killed
them or paying it
before?
once, twice, but,
I wonder if
so
we
yeah,
had
that's where that
pesticides
came
on
from.
them.
Perfect.
So
A couple of myself.
Schumacher, that must have been the digging of the holes. That's what's in there. That just is finally coming through from the August. There's like $2,700 that's in there that's
Yes.
augering out all those holes and stuff.
Yes,
Yep,
yeah.
absolutely. Wrong time, but the dugouts are coming very nicely by the
I seen them when I
All
drove by
holes and
today.
Rafters, It's starting to look like a ball field.
Mhm.
Nice.
I will make a motion to approve accounts payable.
We have a motion and a second to approve accounts payable. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Any public comment? Doesn't look like it, so let's keep going. Unfinished business, pool committee update.
Looks like, well, Troy, were you there or for the last one? I don't remember.
I was, yep, for like the first half of it, and then I had to dart off, but a lot of ideas coming in for our major fundraising idea, which is the VFW Donnie Day. So it's the Saturday after Thanksgiving. The VFW has an annual fundraiser. They have voted and unanimously approved that all of the benefits for that particular event this year are going to go towards the swimming pool.
Awesome.
So the first thing that they do is they sell raffle tickets. And they've increased the price this year to $50, and they're going to sell 400 of them. Obviously, that's a $20,000 income.
Mhm.
So if all 400 tickets are sold, they give away $10,000 in prizes. So the other 10 grand, which would be the profit portion of it, would all be donated directly towards the pool.
That's great.
They've also given us the use of the entire hall to do with whatever we want. If we want live auction, silent auction, things of that nature. So there's other things that the pool committee is going to be looking for input and help with, like 50-50 raffles and meat raffles and just residual little things that can help build that. So yeah, that's kind of the primary focus right now is getting that underway, because obviously the tickets and all the things gotta get sold, advertised. I mean, that's coming up in 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
With that as well, helping to sell those. And then silent auction, I don't know if you mentioned that possibly.
Mhm.
So we might look for baskets and things like that. All kinds of ideas. Possible comedy night later on in the winter, in February.
Yeah.
Bring in a comedian and have a dinner and that type of stuff. Can't remember what
Big,
else.
huge newsletter going out to all the local businesses. Essentially what we want to try and do is almost in tiered levels. We want to try and target big donors right away and work our way down. Kind of like just the event too. We want to go after the big, huge $10,000 prize and work our way down to the silent auction, because you could spend a lot of time and resources and only get $1,000.
Yeah.
And you may be able to walk into one business downtown and they may donate 5 times that much.
Right.
So there's a nice letter that Bretta and the committee members are reviewing and looking at, and then that's going to get mailed out to all the local businesses, looking for some big tax donation, taxable donation coming in at the end of the year. So hopefully we get a lot of like input from that.
I did see too, the Fire Brick Pizza truck is also gonna donate up to 5,000 from their sales, which is awesome too.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, we're trying to publicize those on the website when we know about them,
Mhm.
on the pool page as well. Ford was doing something.
Yep, $10 for every service or something for a certain amount of months. The renewals on the news record.
Yep.
Yep.
That's
So-
awesome.
I think we already talked to Nielsen about putting a duplicate display like we got here in the entryway of the bridging our pool with the QR code, just get more of that out there along with that other thermometer sign or something. I think that's a lot of good traffic right there. That's
Yeah,
Brady is mulling over, allowing us to put something out in his corner. Very busy corner at Priggy's.
That would be
Mhm.
awesome.
There, so we'd have to build some sort of a plywood thing to hold the
Yeah.
banner. And might order a couple more banners.
Yep.
Maybe another couple of those thermometers. We just have to remember where they are because we have to go
Color
mark
in.
them up with a red marker when, when the big donations come in, so.
Yeah, everything I've seen on Facebook that has to do with the pool has been super positive, so
Mhm.
it's really good to see that, so.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Mhm.
The people that have the mandatory, what is that, from their investments, you know how at a certain age you have to take so much money out?
Distributions, yep.
We should remind people that the pool would be a good place for those to go.
So Brenda was talking about that at the meeting, and she was saying that there's a deferred trust account or something that we can actually set up so that it actually is listed. So when people are meeting with their advisor and they're going through the IRS and doing a thing like local, like it would hit on there saying
The pool.
community pool, like boom.
Awesome.
Yeah, she said that same thing. There's people that literally have capital gains and things they're looking at, and it's like, hey, I need to get rid of some of this.
Mhm. Good to see.
Well, and yeah, and then, well, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Get some more of the pool stuff later in.
Oh,
here, I
sure.
believe.
All right, so we'll move on to campground rules and pricing.
I think we're waiting for feedback from other rules, were we not?
Yeah.
I've seen this
Yeah.
Dakota County one on,
Nothing yet.
Yeah.
But I went through and collected quite a few different campgrounds and their prices, so, I mean, we've
Yeah.
got all winter to kind of look at this
Correct.
too, so that just
Yeah.
gives you something to kind of chew on for a little bit and think about.
And then once we have, I noticed in my notes that I was supposed to talk to their city attorney, Matt, about it, about rules. And I didn't, but I think maybe we should get our thoughts in order first on what ours might want to look like. I can't remember the specific questions I was supposed to ask Matt, but
I think if I'm correct, I think you guys just kind of wanted him to review what we had, right?
yeah.
Correct. Where we are currently, and then what we need to revise or add.
Oh, you do have quite a few in here, my goodness.
30 to 55 is what I'm seeing for prices as I'm
Mhm.
scrolling through
Right.
here.
Mm-hmm,
I tried to do municipal campgrounds, but there's not a ton of them. So I just kind of was doing ones that were close by us.
Who decorated some Rhoda signs? It looks really good.
they look really nice, yeah.
His wife did that
he
on
did?
her own.
I was wondering who did that.
That looks
She did
really,
the Covered Bridge Park
Yep.
entrance too.
yep.
Oh,
I thought maybe the garden group was back together or something.
No, they did that on their own one weekend and he donated that, so.
Oh,
It's
nice.
very
Oh,
nice.
nice.
Yeah, it looks
Have we
great.
sent a thank you or something?
No, we didn't, but we.
I
think we should.
I just
Yeah.
found out about it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't even gone out and seen it yet, and I saw something on Facebook. I just didn't know.
Yeah, it
Oh.
looks really nice.
Yeah, it
Could
does.
sneak out to their house and put a thank you at the end of his driveway.
All right, so we can move on to the Covered Bridge Park entrance sign. That is very nicely decorated for the fall.
You want to take
Are
the
you-
lead on this
Are
one?
you speaking about that?
Hang on, let me scroll through my.
It's page 31, if that helps you.
Looks like the sign has deteriorated further than we thought it was.
It was probably in a lot worse shape. I was always looking at just the back of it because that plexiglass holder for information looks pretty cruddy back there. But then closer look into the sign itself, it's starting to, and that's what, when I met with Paul Klinkowski, then him and I started looking at it. I think we just need to do something for, just even the sign itself. I think that was one idea we had, was just, making that sign the shape of the covered bridge, and then on the backside still have your other parks that are available. That was just a quick thought and idea, and he was gonna draw something up that would fit in that space.
So just pending some designs and prices.
Well, I'd like some more feedback, That other sign, well, the nice thing about it is with that other sign is if we replaced it, they still have all the bracing and stuff there from the old sign that we can use. So this would just be taking and I don't have any idea what cost of signs are, but I think Brian was talking, there possibly could be some money available through, what were you looking?
There might be some ARPA dollars. We're working through that now to see what the council desire is on those. Our promise to the citizens for the ARPA dollars was that we would use those dollars for direct levy impact items. We're looking for some bigger impact items, but we'll see what's still available. We could maybe pick up part of the sign or we'll see. So there's a possibility.
The one thing that I always liked about that sign and the same sign at East Park and the one that used to be coming into town that Larry just decorated was that they all matched and we had kind of a theme and it all centered across, like our traditional covered bridge. So one opinion would be that if we start changing them all up, now we don't have that continuity anymore and they all start to change. I was definitely not in favor of the renovation of our new city sign out there. It looks to me more too modern and it doesn't flow with the ones once you get into town. I like that they all look the same, but that's just my opinion. So we should almost even look at the one at East Park and see what's going on there. One thing in neighboring towns, like I obviously work in Cannon Falls, but they have all of theirs so that they all match no matter what park you go to. It just really flows and it's got a really nice feel. And so maybe if we do have some other funds and things like that, we could look at more than just that sign, that we start looking at them.
Yeah.
I think the East Park sign is the same as the covered bridge sign.
They are,
Yeah.
They all three used to have the exact same with just a different name below them. So there's some good flow to it.
I think continuity is important.
Yep.
It's kind of the same. East Park is a little different, but.
Is it?
It's on the website.
Yeah, it's got the same archway with
It's the same arch, yeah.
Yep.
But it's got a picture of the gazebo on it, I think.
Oh, instead of the bridge?
The website
bridge.
does.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe this is an old picture.
Google Maps.
I drive by it all the time and I never look.
So continuity,
It's over by the United Redeemer or Grace Lutheran side.
Yeah.
So just city and some parks, like then still using those signs, the new signs, Troy? City of Zumbrota Parks? Or
name of each park on there, but.
Yeah.
The names were all different. So like, just the fact that we all had this, like the same type of logo on there, it just had a lot of feel like you knew that it was part of the Zumbrota Parks and Recs system. Like they all kind of went together versus other towns, you'd have different style, different designs.
Yeah.
So like that archway there, that template there, you'd have the same sign manufacturer you could make up. If we had a dozen parks, you'd make up a dozen of those signs and you could print different names on each one.
And then have the bridge and then the name underneath. Make it bridge
Shaped if we go with that,
Yeah.
and then have Covered Bridge Park, East Park.
Yeah.
Whatever other parks we want to name.
that's kind of unique. East Park, I guess, do you put a bridge on the East Park one too, or, I mean,
I guess that was my question is if we're gonna start changing the overall shape of the whole entire sign, because that same shape is the city entrance is up on top of the hill there, the East Park one and this one. It's kind of, are we gonna start changing them all to the covered bridge shape and then look at getting quotes that way? Or do we want more proposals?
I guess I like the soup because that's the way it's always been.
Right, I'm more of a traditionalist too.
So something with just the bridge. So use that same thing over.
Same shape.
Yeah.
Do you want like a colored graphic or do you like it black and white?
So are we, the city of Zumbrota, that's our logo now?
Yeah.
What if we had the arch with that logo and then Covered Bridge Park and East Park underneath it, city of Zumbrota?
Instead of a picture of a bridge?
Because then that would, I mean, that then denotes that it's part of the city system.
Right.
I'm not,
I'm not a fan of that
Neither.
design at all. I think that design should go on a bumper sticker or a water tower. But that's just me.
Roy.
Up there at some point.
I'm not gonna mince words like that.
Bridge.
Yeah.
Just that if you wanted to as well.
Yep.
I've used that on some things.
Mhm.
Or you could just use the same kind of a design. If you want color, you could do color. If you want
Right.
black, because you could use the same kind of concept, just maybe have him
Yep.
jazz it up a little bit, or
Yeah.
change it slightly, or.
Mhm.
And again, going back to the traditionalist thing, the bridge is extremely old and it is the heart of our thing. So to try and go with new modern graphics, the two just don't marry up very well, you know?
And that's more to the era of the bridge.
Right.
With the river and the,
Correct.
Yeah.
But I don't
And I
want to be
love
the
the
guy who
bridge.
insists on shag carpet in a brand new house either, but that's just a really, really old bridge and very traditional and it goes very well with the Parks and Rec theme throughout the,
and
Whole
that's what
entire city.
Zumbrota's about, so.
Well, when he comes back with whatever he was designing, then I'll tell him we got another, we'll tell him we could just reuse that sign basically. But so on the backside, is it all right if we do something different on the backside instead of that?
absolutely. And that backside, really, I see what you mean there, Mike, like that one picture we have on page 36, like that's rough.
Well, that space really doesn't get used. I think that, I can't remember the date of the last thing that was put in there, but it was 2016, maybe.
And we were contemplating a map of where all the parks are in town.
That would be
Oh,
nice.
that would be
Was that
cool.
what we were thinking, Mike?
That's what I think you guys had, where we discussed at the previous. And maybe even the
trails.
trail running around the,
Mhm.
The East Park one is identical to the covered bridge one. It's got a picture of the covered bridge on it.
the other thing we're looking at is what Miranda mentioned is with the brick, it's starting to get kind of, so what did you mention about that, whitewashing it?
Yeah, have you guys ever seen that? When people kind of whitewash it, it makes it look a little rusticy, but
Mhm.
like,
This looks like there's bird crap all over it.
Right.
it's like a new.
We'd want to make sure that it's still, the brick is still structurally sound.
Yeah, that looks good. It
The
just, I don't
age of
know
it
why
or
it looks
whatever,
like bird
yeah.
crap all over it, but.
Mhm.
You don't think so?
You wouldn't?
Well, then you gotta do the sign different color, because otherwise everything's gonna be.
White.
It's got that red
Mhm.
color to it.
Well, that's okay, but the body of the sign will look exactly the same. Pretty much as a whitewash from a distance. Or you'll have a light color and a light color. That doesn't.
And then back to the continuity, you almost have to do all three. Are there any more than just the three that I'm thinking of?
What are the three that I'm?
So the entrance to the city one on 52,
Yeah.
the big one, and then there's the East Park
Yep.
one, and then there's the entrance to
Oh,
the
I
Covered
thought you
Bridge
were
Park.
talking 3 park signs. Yeah, there's 2 city entrance signs. There's
Gotcha.
one
Yes.
there and one
And they
there.
all have the same design
They
with
don't
the
have,
brick
the city
pillars.
signs don't have the arch anymore. They're just
Square.
square, rectangle, whatever.
Yeah.
you wanna say.
Bumper stickers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Just white with the logo.
Correct. Yep. So it's just the two parks then, East Park and the Covered Bridge.
And then if we were ever to get a dog park, we could do the same.
For the dog park. Mm-hmm.
Well, not that it is necessary, but like when Cannon Falls redid theirs, maybe they had some art dollars or whatever too, but they read, like, every little tiny park that you go through has one. Like if there was one up, what's the one up inside of, we've got a lot of tiny little parks too, up by 19th Street.
Good parks.
Yeah, they were naming those and giving them all, not that you want to go doing brick and mortar stuff, but
There's one out there by in the golf course edition too,
I
down.
guess there's one on the lower golf course and one on the upper golf course and then Woodlands.
Another thing that you could do is, if you want to keep all of the signs kind of similar, you could just keep the parks the same, like not necessarily mimic the city sign, but just have the logo like, down in the corner or somewhere on it so that, kind of like a little stamp on it.
Sure.
The city's in the room.
I'm with Troy.
Yep.
Yeah.
The smaller the better on the trucks too.
Yeah.
Because then you guys could completely do whatever you want on the signs.
Yeah.
You could, also what you could do is, if you don't even want to use the logo, but to keep them kind of harmonious, you could just use the
The
colors
colors.
from the logo.
I was thinking about that. Like, what if we did the same kind of sign with the bridge and the lettering, but just use the same colors, so at least they match the signs, but I'm guessing the red is because it matches the color of the covered bridge.
Brick, yep.
Yeah.
And
Kind
then,
of the bridge.
and then the water would be blue and then the grass would be green.
Yeah.
You have 2 shades of green to choose from.
Oh, we do.
The colors on there are a little bit darker than it actually is too. I think one of them is more of a lime green.
So more stuff after future proposal.
Mhm.
Yeah.
More
All
winter
right.
discussion.
More winter discussion.
Yep.
All right, we'll keep moving on to new business, East Park.
I think, I just had a note that you guys wanted me to put East Park on this meeting. Was it because you guys wanted to talk about if it needed any sprucing up? Because I think it was one of those, well, we're talking about the sign here, so maybe we should look at East Park too. So I think
East Park sign.
I think we just killed 2 birds with one stone.
Okay.
You're right, Brian. I think there was talk of, we should look at what needs to be done up there to spruce it up as well.
Because you had brought up a tree needed to come down. I know that Marie has been taking volunteers to clean up that little, was it a peace garden that's kind of in that one corner? So I think she's
Yep.
kind of,
Meditation deal or something.
yeah, so I think she's kind of still taking care of that. So I think she had a couple volunteers, so I think that should probably be looking okay now.
And then just, we should take a look at the bathroom.
Yeah.
Who's supposed to clean that during the year? Like get the cobwebs out?
City staff.
And then what's that?
Water spigot that's back there.
Well,
What do we use that for?
it was a drinking fountain. It started out as quite a few years ago, I think my first year here, that they had requested we put a drinking fountain in out there. And so we were thinking something like we had here, but previous administration didn't want to do that, so he had us tap something onto the, which I think it would still be nice to have, like a bottle filler station maybe or something up there, but we just, that was kind of put to a kibosh there, and that's what we ended up with.
Because I
There
think,
are no drinks out there.
and when you look at that faucet, it kind of makes you think that it's not water you can drink. Right? It's that,
Does it come out really brown?
well, just the faucet itself, I wouldn't drink out
You used to drink out of the hose when you were a kid?
Absolutely,
Well, yeah.
but I'm an adult now.
But I'm an adult now.
Like a spigot, like you just,
I
and then
think
you
what,
gotta like bend over.
Yeah.
Down there.
I think they got,
That's on the actual
It's
faucet.
not even like one of
Do
those
like the
old
dog.
fashioned, you push the button and it.
No,
Oh,
it's the old school.
we could probably do a little better. A fountain, oh geez, I guess I don't know.
Maybe a little heavier dutier one too for outdoors than
Right, make sure it's an outdoor one and not.
looking at was a new one for out there and one for in here as well. Was another request, so.
oops.
Trailhead, yeah, when they got those are actually indoor. I don't know why they did that. They're
Yeah.
for indoor use. So they're really something to tear apart and try to get them all drained so they don't freeze and break lines in them.
Maybe we could find out what an outdoor one would cost for up there and just see what the price of it is.
Yeah.
Because it would be nice. I mean, the kids play there. It would be
Mhm.
nice for them to have water.
With the music in the park and stuff all summer long, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would enjoy being able to fill up their water bottle.
And this administration would not be against that.
Family friendly.
We're good. All right. Next item, Ann Majerus, tree request in memory of Cindy Redding.
So her name is spelled correctly in the minutes and in the memo. It's,
Got a nice tree.
so if we have to
The
make
lady
a
that
collect,
requested it spelled it.
She had 2 Ds too, yeah.
I know, and that's.
Yep, yeah, yeah, she just stopped and I can't remember, I ran into her somewhere. And she asked,
Quick Trip.
Quick Trip, yeah, and she asked about it and then she came in here with, I told her, bring in a letter or bring in something we can put in the park board packet and then Mike put the memo together for me, thank you. I should have
Do
sent you
we
a
have
memo.
to
I just
vote
sent
on
you a
that?
thing.
Which park did she want it in?
Letter, I guess that she doesn't, I just said we'd have to work with her to decide where she wanted to put it.
It doesn't say what park.
No.
In
She
the
didn't
park.
specify, and I think
With capital P.
she wanted us to get her a price list
You want to
too.
see what kind of trees would be available and.
I mean, they can do what they want. I think I'd just go out to Jake and I think that would be a better option than the ones we have to replace for the ash borer because they're just 3/4 inch diameter is all that we can buy for replacing those. I just think, she doesn't specify any amount of money. I mean, trees get expensive, but I think I would go with a little bigger tree. And then we could auger it in, I'm sure, somehow.
Yeah, I would welcome any additional trees, and I
Mhm.
know that Mike would probably be quick to jump on that as well, and if she has a specific location that she's in favor of that doesn't impede some of the other stuff we got going on, as far as let them pick up where they want to put it.
She did mention a plaque with it, which can be a mowing.
Wonder if a plaque would go better on like a bench or something,
She wants
They-
trees.
like they do Right.
Just one of the little stand plaques, maybe we can round up around the tree a little bit so we don't have to mow over the plaque.
Or is it like not a headstone, but like something like those flat headstones that you can just kind of.
Put into the
They
ground.
do make flat plaques. that you can-
I know what you,
Not
Yep.
a,
I was thinking that too, but didn't think that that would be a good,
something, you know what I mean, like something like.
yes.
Put it on the ground in a concrete,
Yeah.
like a headstone.
Not a headstone, but similar to.
I mean, that's one of the limitations to if they want to dedicate just a tree and not be a nuisance to the groundskeeper. It would have to
Right.
be a flat plaque, or they could also put a bench next to the tree and dedicate
Put
the
it
bench
on.
and the tree and
Yeah.
say this bench and tree in memory.
Yeah.
So back to our benches, I think you guys had decided that you wanted to kind of keep, those benches kind of all the same too.
Correct.
Then I had a request for a bench down here that would go along with those other benches. And I haven't got back to her yet, but I think it was the ones, who put those in? She used to work at the bank, I think.
Like who donated it?
Yeah, he had one for his son and one for his wife.
You want to donate a bench?
Well, so whoever lives in Mr. Yovasaker's old place, what is her name? Her husband passed away. And she wanted to put a bench down across the river where those other benches are. And I don't know how we go about that because Park Board had decided they wanted to keep those benches kind of the same uniform, but those are nicer looking benches. And I don't know if it would make any difference if we threw another bench in there or.
I think when I talked to her, it's been a little bit since I talked to her. Because I had kind of told her, I said, I think they kind of want to keep all the benches the same. And if I remember right, I think she said she's fine with whatever as long as it's not wood.
Oh,
She didn't want a wood
Oh.
bench.
yeah, because there's maintenance to them.
Yeah. She's like, they fall
Yeah.
apart, they don't, so she just didn't want wood.
Well,
And I said, good, because I don't think,
And we still have, I think, 3 of those benches like, we put over by the pickleball court. We still have 3 of them out at the
I
shop.
think she's pretty flexible.
But then, we got a plaque for, I forget who donated those ones too.
I think her thing was she wanted it because they can see the,
Yep.
so she wanted it so that she could see the bench from.
There's a spot that they walk down towards the river and they can look across.
Yep. I think there's a blue bench there.
Well, that one's up a little
Oh,
further.
okay.
This one was across from, tell me the people. She used to work at the bank.
Right at the end of the road there?
I can see him sitting on the bench.
Zort, wasn't it,
Yes.
Zort?
Yes.
He donated 2 of those benches, one for his son and one for his wife.
Well, I think if she wants to donate one that's consistent with what we have, and she wants it so she can see it, I think that's perfectly fine. Do we need to have a motion on that?
Wait, you say consistent with what we have in that area or the new one that we're putting in other places?
Well, if she doesn't want a wood one, we
Oh,
would,
those are wood down there?
look, the 2 down here are wood ones.
Oh, yeah.
New style, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and then there was one of those benches was donated by Joan Sands for Dan King too at the time, and that's over by one of the.
Assuming once some of those older wooden start to deteriorate and need some maintenance, we can replace those 2 with some of the newer style ones. That might give an opportunity for us to go back to the original sponsor and ask if they want to upgrade theirs or if they want it replaced by someone who's been on a waiting list to get a sponsored bench. I mean, if I had sponsored an old wooden bench, I would want first rights to say, nope, I want to keep my bench, but I'll upgrade it to a nice new metal style or whatever.
How much do the new?
Upgraded ones cost? Oh,
You know, Dan was always good about getting grants for stuff like that, so he had a lot of benches and a lot of bike stands. And that was quite a few years ago, so I don't know what those cost anymore. The one thing about them is, I do like is how they're installed.
Are these the ones that we are switching to, or this is just what he had done?
No,
That's what they had.
that's what he donated. The ones
Yeah.
we're switching to would be like the ones over by the pickleball court.
Okay.
And the one that we put in for Dan, but they're nice because they got legs down and you dig down and get that depth. So they're not moving. These are just bolted on top of the concrete, which is a little, it can be a little problematic at times, but
We got like 3 different or even 4 different style benches out there. The wooden ones, that Zwart one. We got that blue rotary one that's out there, and then our new style ones, kind of by the pickleball court.
well, and that's where, and then Jake McBroom, we haven't got that one installed yet, but he had donated one from the Scouts too. It's kind of hard to turn
Oh,
all of them down, you know?
Joan,
Yeah.
is that the
Yep.
new style?
And then you'd ordered the plaque and we put that plaque
Yeah.
right on the back of
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
And they paid for the we told them we had the benches, they paid for the concrete and the little plaque and.
do we need a motion or anything for the,
Maybe we should have added that
So
I'll make a motion to accept the donation of the bench from,
yeah, the tree one too, I was,
So B1 and B2.
yeah.
for the bench,
and the tree. Can we do them together?
I think so.
I don't see why not.
I second the motion to approve the tree from, in memory of Cindy Redding, and then the bench from, is it Zwart's?
No,
Or,
do you remember her name? Yeah. Miranda?
I'm pretty sure his name was Bill. Give me 1 second.
Yoga soccer, just spelled different.
Yeah.
Bill,
So
hang on, let me look at the part.
them once but I don't remember, no.
She's very.
She did great. She did excellent. She helped with national night out. Evans, Bill and Sue Evans.
There we go.
Evans.
Evans.
All right, so I have a motion and a second to approve the tree request in the park and also the bench donation for the Evanses. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Wow, that was a mouthful. Got it out. All right, now on to initiation of phase 2 and 3 of the Burbach Professional Service Agreement.
Let's see, hold on a second. I was gonna calculate, but, yep, so phase 2 is design, development, and construction phase. This is important because this will be the design development of the drawings and the advertising, the bidding, all of that stuff, which we need to get moving on because we need to know where our in-kind donations are going to land, so we know exactly how much more money we have to raise. They get paid a percentage of the total, which is 7.92% of the construction cost plus reimbursable expenses and other things for phase 2. And then phase 3 is all the construction related services. That gets into the bidding and everything else. And then all the construction management and the final delivery of the final project. And that also carries with it a 3.96% of construction costs, final construction costs. So I don't remember exactly the dollar amounts, but this is the professional services agreement that was approved by the park board and directly the council back 5 years ago. And this was in there at that time, so I kind of held on to it, just waiting to do a little bit more fundraising, but we need to get the plans done, we need to get it out there. We won't pay for any of this until probably construction start or close to it, unless construction start is not spring. If it goes on another year, then we will do the bonding. We'll do the bonding after the first of the year. It wouldn't hit taxes till the 2026 taxes, because we're gonna build something. It may have to be value engineered. If we can't raise the money, it may have to be another year out if we're not raising enough money in enough time. There was some concern from one of the council members on how we're gonna pay for this if we don't raise enough money right away. Well, that'll be the bonding, and we'll use some of those dollars to pay for this part of it when the bill comes due, which is not for a while. So then even if it has to wait for another year to do more fundraising, we still need this now anyway. So anyway, I was gonna bring it to council because it's got the mayor's name on there. But our old park board chair, Fred Rash, was in attendance at a work session and said, hey, wait a minute, isn't this a park board? They can hire and fire and sign contracts. Good point. So we're here for approval from the park board to proceed with phase 2 and 3.
So in talking over with the other pool committee members too, at this point, like, we're locked into Burbach. It's not like we can pick up and go with another company, even though that Todd Hamlin said he knew another pool designer. He had someone in mind at our last meeting that he was talking to, or something. Like, that ship has already left the port, like we're already on the Burbach thing.
Yeah, so when that all started, I don't know if there was 3 or 4 aquatic people that they
Worked with.
interviewed and got the prices from. So at that time, that's when Burbach said, I believe they were, I don't know if they, I can't remember the exact pricing, but they were cheaper. And that's what
Sure.
they picked to go with back.
Yep. And it kind of already is in the Burbach contract, like Brian was pointing out, it's X percentage for this and X percentage for that. So the phase 2 and the phase 3 already have kind of like an estimated price, correct? Because they're not 100% sure on what the final price of this is supposed to be anyway. So they kind of covered themselves to make sure that they were getting at least a percentage of what the total cost is. So it might have been a $4 million pool 2 years ago, but now that it's a $5.3 million pool, now they're still getting that percentage and that increase.
Those projected costs are in the whole list of costs
Of things.
that are out there in the $4.626 million. So it won't be any surprise, it's all listed in there. It's all part of that total cost. So we just need to get going on the plans and get it out there for bid.
I agree with Brian. There shouldn't be any more delay. The referendum has passed. We got to get this thing moving. In fact, I wasn't there for the full pool committee meeting, but now that we're already approved and the referendum has passed for 3 million, even if we had to start construction and do all this stuff, I don't understand why there should be any delay on doing the grunt work, like getting the old pool demolished, getting it out of there, digging the new vessel and getting it going. Because in looking at the overall proposal, like $3 million worth of stuff, that's pretty much everything except for the outbuilding. Like, if we did nothing else in 2025 but tear everything down and build the whole brand new pool and do all the concrete, and then we still had to put up a pump house and the big thing, like, if we couldn't get that done and couldn't get the funds raised by the time that happened next summer, then obviously we couldn't open the pool in the spring of 26 and we couldn't build that. But at least we'd have 80% of it done and sitting there. I can't imagine why we would just sit on this and do nothing all next summer, because we're, $800,000 short.
And I truly believe that once we start doing something, and then if we're working on it, we're there and we're saying we still have a shortfall here and we need to keep moving, the money's gonna keep coming in. I think if we're just looking at nothing there
It's gonna
and there's
die.
no progress, people aren't gonna be as willing to open up and donate.
And I think it's good that they have a lot of different ideas for fundraisers, because I think keeping it viewable in view of the people will also help.
Yeah.
It's easy to just forget
Forget.
about things. and-
Right.
Especially in the winter.
Yep.
So who is it that's saying that we have to wait till 2026 if we don't have the complete dollar amount?
Me. Well, no, it's, so 90% basically is what they look for. And that's how they usually run things. Now, we could set a lower amount.
When you say
We want-
they, is that Burbach? or-
Burbach.
Okay.
That's how they've done these contracts or these things before. But, so at 90%, we would need to raise 1,163,400 beyond the 3 million to get us to 90%. And you're exactly right. We're about 800,000 short of that right now, before bidding, before anything else. So, we can close that gap, or in all likelihood, hopefully we're not short at all, but if we are, it's not much of the 90%. And then we'll continue to fundraise along the way.
But some of that too, like say there's $325,000 for the demolition of the old pool. Schumacher bids it and says, we can do that for 100,000.
Or whoever.
Or whoever, yeah.
Whoever, yeah.
Somewhat local comes in and says, I can do that for 100,000. They would get, or we would get the full $325,000 because the difference, the $225,000 delta, that would be an in-kind donation, correct? So we're still getting credit for the full estimated amount.
Or the masons, the block layers, there's a lot of block out there.
A lot of that, plumbing, I mean, all sorts of things.
Excavation, you name it. But who knows?
But until they can start finalizing the drawings and going out and getting bids from all the different people who might be doing that work, we can't even really start to tally the funds for the in-kind donations. So that's where we're really stuck until we get phase 2 and 3 done.
So with Landstrom, what is phase 2 and 3?
Phase 2 and 3 is
So phase 2 is your,
design, development, and construction document phase.
So finalizing the plans and going out and getting bids, correct?
That's
That's what it
basically
sounds like
phase
to
2
me.
and 3 are, right?
Well, it's the documents phase. Phase 3 is,
The bids, right?
phase 2 is your, part of your legwork for construction, soil boring, site surveys, general, prepare revised site layouts and final, be getting your final drafts of your plans. And then site 3 is your, or phase 3 is your construction related services, include advertising for bids, plan sets, pre-bid meeting, actual public bid opening and preparing contracts, on-site observation, and then you've got your startup and your closing on the first time you start with the closing.
So phase 3 is
finishing.
Basically, your-
bidding, the rest, the rest that what we haven't covered already. Until the end.
right, and the phase 2 portion is they'll do some soil borings and, well, actually, there was some other work that had to be done before we tore it down, which we started on, but we just kind of put everything in, but they have to go through an asbestos abatement on it.
And the documents are in the packet if you need more details to
I'm
put in.
just
the
trying to
minutes.
summarize it so that it makes sense if somebody wants to just quick look at the minutes. Like, I don't want to write a
So I
book
think-
on it.
I think the memo that I put together, that's the real.
Page 41.
Basic ones of it.
Oh, I
There you
went
go.
right to this one thinking that was it. Perfect. Yeah,
Copy
that's
paste.
great.
Copy paste.
Might be helping me out with another memo there. Didn't even think about it. I always ask for a memo. Now I'll give him one. Whoops.
The check's in the mail.
So when we finish this, I have a question for you. When we finish this part.
Yep, we need a motion and second and approval to initiate phase 2 and 3 of the Burbach Professional Services Agreement.
I will move that we initiate phase 2 and 3 of the Burbach Professional Service Agreement.
I'll second.
I got a motion and a second for the initiation of phase 2 and 3 of the Burbach Professional Service Agreement. All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Carried.
I've had people ask for lanes for swimming laps. You've heard that?
I have not, but when we went through some of our documentation and our marketing stuff, when we were trying to get the referendum to pass, I specifically asked for those photos to be taken out because the pool will not have those.
Okay.
It's not big enough for swimming lanes, and with the zero entry, when you'd swim into like a 3-foot or 2-foot depth.
And you couldn't run it the
Well,
other
yeah,
L?
no, yeah, you could run some, they're not full length
Length,
lanes
but-
or anything like that. There's an area there where the diving board and hopefully the climbing wall to the other side, that would be available theoretically for swimming laps.
If you shut down, and run the longest, if you look at the photo out there, if you go the longest stretch and shut down the deep end, you'd be swimming laps through the 12 feet and then back towards the shallow. And it wouldn't be like it used to be where you could just stand up if you got tired or cramped up swimming laps. But otherwise, everything else going the other 2 directions goes into the 2-foot
shallow,
depth. So
yeah.
you'd be starting out at like a 4-foot depth, and you'd swim into a 2-foot. So there's not a lot. So there's not a lot of swimming lanes, right?
Okay. And you can't have laps that go into the deep water?
If you're a good enough swimmer, but if you cramp up or something happens, like you don't know where to go. But
Okay.
yes, you
Theoretically,
could,
there would be lifeguards.
if you would have an event where you'd strictly, like you were doing a swim meet or something, you could shut down the diving board, and yes, you could do that. I don't think that you would ever have like lap swimming on the deep end versus like water aerobics in the shallow and have a big.
Right.
The people that were talking to me about it were adults and they wanted to have a time when it wasn't open swim time for everybody else and that they could just come and put some lane markers out and
That would
go.
be a definite proposal we could potentially do.
I was gonna say, let me look what Penn Island does, if they have, because their pool is a little difficult, like what you're describing, this new pool would be, theirs would be. They do offer lap swimming in Pine Island. We should see how they, because theirs would have to go into the deep end.
Right.
Because aren't they just one? Do they?
Well, theirs is kind of almost like it's like a weird shaped U, almost more like a V maybe. And to run it the short way would be like really short, but they could do it. It's like during swimming lessons, the older kids were doing the short way. But I don't know if they do it the long way. But they offer lap swimming, so we could see how they do it.
That was just when we were out for the fair. That
Fair,
was
yep.
some of the things that people were saying, so.
Yeah, we had people ask too if we we're gonna
Popular,
repurpose,
yeah.
reuse the
I mean, I'd
climbing
probably
wall
do it.
too, like,
It's good
they didn't see
exercise.
that on the new thing, and like, we kept it, that was the reason we bought it, so we could put it back out there, so we'll see.
All right, looks like we need to reschedule the November meeting because of the election.
What election?
If I see any more ads on TV, oh
It's gonna get
man,
worse.
it's so
It
bad.
always drops off drastically in October.
Oh, it's so bad.
So, I'm trying to find that out. Did
You did,
I?
requested the meeting for November 4th be rescheduled.
On the 4th?
Tensions will be high.
I already requested my absentee ballot, so.
I put in a specific date. But you're not gonna want, you're probably gonna wanna vote to the next Monday.
I would
No, good, that's,
think that
City
would.
Hall's closed.
What's the next Monday?
Veterans Day.
Veterans Day.
Oh, so that Tuesday probably.
The 12th?
No, the 12th, I mean,
The following week, Tuesday.
Oh, I see.
yes, not
There's a
election
planning
day.
meeting in here.
There's a what?
There's a planning commission meeting.
Oh my,
So Wednesday, the day after the election might be the best.
so the 13th,
The
6th.
or the 6th, sorry, getting my weeks mixed up.
So the 4th is just because we're getting everything prepped and ready.
Yeah, the room has to be set up.
Unless if you, I'm not gonna be here, because I have to go get the supplies. So unless you two are gonna be here, you can still carry on with it. Because we could still go into the small conference room, or even in here.
Well, we could, yeah. I mean,
So if
we're
you
gonna
wanna
have, we're gonna have a
still-
long line of tables. We can just all sit there and
So if you wanna
Yeah.
make sure that you two are for sure here, you can still carry on.
I'll be
with it.
here.
I'll be here.
I should be here too.
leave it on the Monday.
If my plane leaves Charleston on Sunday. If not, then I'll be driving to make it back for the election.
Oh.
I'm gonna be driving back to timeshare with Mary.
You better be here.
I'll be here. I will be here one way or another. I specifically booked my flight so that I would have enough time to drive if the plane doesn't fly.
Otherwise, you're gonna have to be a head judge, because my father-in-law's in the,
For the election?
so I can't be a judge.
Ooh.
I
Oh,
can do the clerk stuff, but I can't.
You can still answer questions
Yes.
when I,
I just can't come out.
No,
here
I'll drive down and get you.
physically.
That's what I'll drive down to go.
Yeah.
charter a plane.
Get you back for the election.
well, I would like to fly on a charter
We're
plane.
missing our other expert.
Challenge
judge.
accepted.
Husband's in the election too, so
Mhm.
we
It's
only have,
tough.
we only have one seasoned expert this time.
So due to the
And my
space
code word is
constraints, we're still
blueberry.
okay with the 4th?
That's the,
Yeah.
What's that, the emergency?
Get the cops.
Oh,
Yep.
Null and void. All right, mine isn't gonna take very long. The covered bridge baby swings, all of them are super, super squeaky. Can we just get someone to spray some WD-40 on those or something so they're not so squeaky? That's all I'm asking.
The chain at the top
Yes.
is.
Very squeaky. Yeah. We noticed that like a couple weeks ago and my husband's like, can't you just bring that up in the meeting? I'm like, probably.
The ones inside of kids.
In King, yeah.
Like 2 or 3.
It
There's
costs a
3
lot
of
of
them
money.
there.
What part of the budget will that come out?
Yeah, it's just the 3. I don't know about the handicap swing, but the 3 baby swings for sure all need a little spritz.
Small down.
Schmutz.
So,
I don't know if they need a motion.
do I?
No.
I don't know.
Just
Just a concern,
Aye.
just a
Concerned citizen.
concerned citizen. So, okay, cool. Reports? No reports?
I have one thing.
It's like every time it's Troy.
I have one thing.
Oh, sure.
I was approached at my church by someone that was very angry with the park board and with me in particular.
Oh,
And I listened, and from now on, I would suggest, as I'm going to do, that if I'm approached again, I'm just going to say, no, we're not talking about it. We'll make an appointment at City Hall, bring it here so you can be there.
Yeah, bring it to the park board.
mhm.
Because it was very aggressive and very angry
Mm.
So the-
regarding the
The
campground.
campground expansion.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and he was
Same person.
very much in my face.
Well, that's nice.
Mhm. And I was afraid he was gonna have a heart attack. He was that shaking and
Mm.
pulsing. So, yeah, but he scared me a little bit.
Well, I'm sorry you had to go through that, but
Yeah,
I would definitely, in that situation, let people know that we do have a public comment portion every single time, and they're more than welcome. These are public
Mhm.
meetings. They can come down and voice their
Well
concern.
aware. He's well aware of that.
And not only that, but thank you for bringing it to my attention. But before you go any further, I think everyone should hear this. So let's not waste this conversation, just you and I standing here at Quick Trip talking about, like, please come down. I want to hear the rest of this,
Right.
but I want everyone else to hear it too.
right.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Sorry you had to go through that. I had one gentleman, unrelated to, but in the parade, we didn't make it one block out of the staged area for the parade. And the very first person I stopped to give a magnet to says, I don't understand why you just didn't bond for the whole entire amount. Why are you fundraising? This is stupid. You should have just asked for the whole money. What's going on here? You either want it or you don't want it. And I was like, oh, so sorry I didn't want that. I'm like, oh. And then I had other people that I tried to hand a magnet to, and they said, I voted no for that. You can keep your magnet. And I was just like, but granted, these were very, very small instances throughout the parade. But I too know what it's like to be greeted by someone who's like, hey, I'm not supporting what you're pushing.
Hilarious. I voted no, I don't want you.
And I honestly just said, I appreciate your candor and your honesty. I said, not everybody is in favor of that.
Yeah.
So thank you for letting me know, and I just went on my way.
So speaking of campground, I think we got it all put in except for sites that we gotta go finish tomorrow.
Saw some grading and stuff going on back there last time I was out walking last weekend or
Yeah,
whatever.
it looks like a lot, which is fine.
Yep.
It'll take some time to, once we get Schumacher's out of the other. we can go
I'm
back
so
and
sorry.
Sure.
fix it all.
That's-
Get rock in.
That's
So
a
what are we
lot of
gonna do
line.
with some of the playground equipment, like the monkey bars and the swings and stuff that are
Everything
back
is
there? It's staying?
everything, the trees, we haven't taken any trees down, we trimmed trees, saved all the trees. All the playground stuff, the one I would like to get rid of is that thing we got that wasn't safe for the people that we got it from back in the day.
That's why we got it.
Right.
No, and that was all in an effort to respect the wishes of the group
Well,
that
yeah,
came in because they were concerned about the trees, they were concerned about, my grandkids want to play on that playground there. And so they're doing the best they can to save all that.
Thankfully, so when we first started that whole thing, we walked to the gentleman and said, put it in. Just as it lays, you don't have to do nothing special. So if you look at the campground, and Donnie's probably down there is the only one really, or some of them in the back, but they have trees hanging over them, you know, and it's niche, should be shaded for them. I mean,
Sure.
and the trees there's some trees that are gonna have to come down because they're starting to get bad. Some of the old trees are too close and they're starting to work out. But we'll get through the year here and see what it looks like next spring.
That might have been the thing that you were gonna talk to Matt about. It was with the tree incident, that the branch came
Liability,
down.
yeah, I wrote down what
We're gonna put
liability
that in
things
with
do we
the
need to
waiver
have.
of the campground.
Yeah, yep.
Well, if they
Was
hit a
that-
camper,
Right.
That and the floods and,
camp at your own risk.
Correct.
what it is.
Maybe you wanna mention FEMA.
Sure, yeah. That's a good point. Thanks, Mike. I'm working on FEMA paperwork to recover costs that we incurred with the flooding. Most of the dollars were removing all the limbs and everything from below the bridge and the river. And then other general cleanup out there, closing the highway for a time, so there's some staff time there. Some equipment that Mike's staff used. It just kind of snowballs when you start looking at everything. It's like, well, now there's equipment, now there's gas, now there's, so trying to put together all that paperwork, it's a whole lot of, but there's give or take $10,000, maybe a little less, that will be able, excuse me, to put in the project, they call it. You have to categorize things into different projects and they have to be more than $3,900 or $2,900 each one. So if you fit a couple of things in one category, then it's less, then that's not eligible. So I just got approval today to fit it all under, it's a category G is what it's called. Because it was all related to the park and everything we did was all park. So the whole deal is under category G. So that's looking much better. It's just a matter
That's
of getting
good.
all the
Good.
information in.
Very good.
And recouping those dollars, so.
And then we're putting some stuff together for mitigation. Now, whether that actually happens
Yes.
or not, I'm not sure. But possibly it'll be for portions of the campground, part of the campground, all of the campground, part of the bathhouse. I don't know, but we're putting all that information together now and then we'll send it to that partner or FEMA. They want to take a look at that too.
Yeah, we're hoping that they pay for good share of the bathhouse because that is moving up out of the floodplain completely. I think that's not even in the flood
Right. It's out of the-
backup area.
out of the floodway and floodplain and everything, even the campground. And that's what I was gonna send, information along with our ordinance for the floodways, city ordinances as far as building the floodways, elevation maps and everything showing the difference from where they are to where they're getting moved. And I mean,
Yeah.
not that they won't flood, but they're, last time, I can't remember, I looked on that stuff too, was it 2016 was the last time that bathhouse flooded. But then there was quite a period from 2016 previous to that it was flooding all the time.
Yeah, so, yeah, if we can get some dollars for that, and of course, it's FEMA's best interest to help with mitigation, because they don't want to be back here
Back here
paying for all this
again.
again. So, so that'll be good if we can get all that stuff in, and it's just time consuming.
Would those FEMA dollars go directly towards the campground endeavor or just back into the park fund?
I don't know where the staff hours came out of for all that cleanup, whether it was streets or where it was, but
Yep.
it'll be all broken up back to where it belongs. Of course, any of the mitigation with the campground is being paid for
Sure.
out of park board funds completely. So anything, any mitigation dollars and stuff like that, oh yeah, that'll be directly.
Yep, that'd be good.
And then, whatever in the parks, we're moving soccer nets or setting the Frisbee nets back up or whatever. Oh, the treating of the Kids Kingdom, there was some in-kind work there by the fire department. Yeah, all those dollars I would imagine would go back into the park.
That's great.
So any dollars help.
Yeah.
That they do. Are we entertained?
You tell me.
I'm ready.
Didn't you have something yet?
Nope, I wanted to entertain a motion.
Please.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
A motion is second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Peace out.
How do you close?